Hello everyone, welcome to your weekly pick a card reading. So for my regular followers, this channeled tarot reading is from the 14th to the 20th of August. For those of you that stumble upon it at any other time, just know that this reading is timeless. The messages from Spirit will come to you as and when you need it. And just remember, please feel free to select as many piles as you feel drawn to. Let's get started. Okay everyone, we have pole number 1, pole number 2, pole number 3 and pole number 4. For pole number 1 we have the ruby inzoisite heart crystal. For pole number 2 we have the aventurine moon crystal. For pole number 3 we have the serpentine crystal, and for pole number 4 we have the jade crystal. I felt really drawn actually to go green and black today. I don't know why, but I just follow those feelings that I get. I'm not sure if it was because I needed to choose these piles of cards. I'm not sure, but yeah, green and black was really the way I was called today. So my friends, take your time, select a pile by the crystal, well, I was going to say the colours, but they are all slightly different colours, or just by a pile number that you feel drawn to, or just guess. Guessing is kind of our intuition talking as well. Feel free to pause to give yourself plenty of time to feel into it, or just be spontaneous and just pick the first thing that kind of attracted your eye, or a pile that your eye keeps going back to. And like I said in the intro, feel free to select as many piles as you feel called to or drawn to. I'll see you in your reading. Hello pile number 1, welcome my friends. Let's have a look at what messages Spirit has for you this week. So we have the 6 of Wands, we have Death, and we have the Page of Cups. We have your overall energy, we have the releasement and the charging of her wand. And in additional messages, we've got forgiveness and true offering. Do you know, pole number 1, just straight off the bat, I think this forgiveness card and even this true offering, I think this reading is for you. I think there's, on some level, there's mistakes of the past that need to be released. This charging of her wands, I think it's you know, you've changed, you know, the energy that is coming from you into the world, the I'm almost getting like the vibe that you give off, but also I think it's just the direction you want or what you want. I think there's been a lot of change, and I feel like that's what all the cards speak of. So let's go to your first overall energy of the releasement. And I'm sensing with this card and with the images and the messages that Spirit is giving me, basically there's a sense here of it's time to release yourself from something. So it's time to release yourself from a way of thinking, a way of being, something that you might have committed to, and suddenly you realize, you know what, this is not for me. And it keeps coming back to haunt you. And what I mean by that is every time you think about it, or you're talking about it to people, there's almost this sense of there's almost like this energy in the pit of your stomach, and it's not because you're afraid or because you're nervous or because it's something new and you need to overcome your fears. This is more like a feeling like this isn't right for me, but it's almost like you feel you've taken that step too far in that direction to backpedal and come back. And I think Spirit's saying that at any time in our life, we can stop moving forward on a path that no longer suits us. We can say, do you know what? I know I made a promise. I know I committed, but this is no longer for me. And I think the more and more we give ourselves permission to do that, the more and more we're actually going to come to see how much that will release both parties, or the energies to actually bring something better. So if you're committed to a contract in a let's say an office, and the contract is for 6 months, and you're 1 month in and you're like, oh my gosh, this is so not for me. Now, it's not always the case, but for your reading, pole number 1, there's this sense here that all parties will come to realize by terminating a contract or coming back on a promise or saying, do you know what, this is not for me. I can't fulfill this anymore. It will stop you from doing a bad job, and also leaking energy into something that just isn't for you. But it also gives the company an opportunity to find somebody that is better suited, or somebody that would love it, and because I'm sensing things like, let's go back to this contract, 6 months contract, you're 1 month in and you're like, oh my gosh, I hate this. Now you might say to your boss, you know what, I'm really not the person for this job. It really, I'm struggling. I know that my performance is not at its best because it's just not me. I'm finding no joy in it, and I'm not saying that's how you say it, but now that boss might be furious, might be like, well, you're under contract and blah, 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 and maybe you have to stay until we find somebody else. Fine. And then they find somebody within a few weeks. They might even find somebody within a few days, because when you're not supposed to be somewhere, the universe is not going to make you stay there. So then you leave, the next person comes in. At the end of the contract, some important person in that company leaves, and that person that was under contract just for those few months, just as a temp, suddenly they're getting offered the job, and your boss is going to be going, oh my God, I'm so glad you didn't stay, because right now I've got somebody right here willing, loving it, that can just jump into that role, and they've already received 4 or 5 months of training. Whereas you would have left very happily at the end of the contract, and they would have had to start from zero. This is the example that Spirit's giving me of a win-win when we follow our intuition. Now, this is not being lazy. This is not that the work is too hard and you can't be bothered. This is a real, honest disalignment. There is something in there, I think you would have gone for this, whatever, it's not just a job. This could be a relationship. This could be moving to a new place. moving into a rental or buying a home. And there's just this sense that, oh, I had so much high hopes for this. And it's not that it hasn't hit your expectations. It's just suddenly you're realizing this is not for me. And everything we do, pole number one, has a lesson behind it. And I feel this lesson is having the courage, the understanding to actually speak up and say, I'm sorry, this is not for me, rather than hold it in and keep moving forward with it. Because you're not going to be at your best. The company's not going to receive the best, or the relationship, or whatever it is. So it's a lose-lose then. And this experience, my friends, is really going to hone your skill of understanding the difference between, oh, this is a bit hard, I don't want to do this anymore, or, oh, can I be bothered? Or you've just hit a challenge and the challenge is to be overcome. And the real feeling of, this is not for me. The releasement. And I feel like you'll be releasing yourself. Now, Spirit just actually said to me, I don't know if this is many of you, some of you are going to be on the other side, maybe. Maybe you're going to have somebody let you down. And it's almost like, just trust. There's an ending coming anyway. Just trust that it's all for the best. It's a win-win. And your other overall energy is the charging of her wand. Again, I'm drawn to the 7 because of the 7 year that we're working. This 2023 in numerology is a 7 year. So I feel this charging of her wand energy is going to be for the rest of the year. And I feel it's this energy that is pushing you to realize how this doesn't work. And really, Spirit keeps saying to me, it doesn't matter what side. So if you might be the person letting the other person down, or there might be a person letting you down. This releasement could be you releasing yourself from something, or it could be another person releasing themselves of an attachment to you in some way. Either way, this charging of her wand, there is supposed to be freedom from whatever that attachment is. Freedom, and thank you, Spirit. Spirit said not attachment. It's more like a contract. It's more like a promise. This charging of her wand, to me, symbolizes there's energy rising in you. And there's a change coming. And we can see that with the Death card and then the Page afterwards. And I like how these two, like horses, are moving forward in the same direction. So there is a momentum building in you. It's almost like we might be wandering, we might feel like we're wandering around in our life a bit aimlessly and we don't know what we're choosing. And then the further we are on our journey, the more we get this exponential kind of energy. And what I mean by that, what Spirit means by that, is suddenly you're lost, and then you're going to start to see clearly, and then you see a little bit more clearly, and then suddenly, instead of seeing one step ahead of you, you're starting to see 10 steps. You're starting to, things starting to really fall into place, and things just expand quite rapidly. And that's what I'm feeling with this. I'm feeling that the wand's been charging, the energy's been building, and then suddenly the energy's going to be, it's going to shoot out of the tip of the wand. And I feel that's how life kind of brings it on. It's almost like we're in the dark, and then gradually there's more and more light, and then suddenly we're in the clearing and there's complete light. And I feel that as this energy builds and moves you, because it's this building of energy that gives you more clarity, that enables you to see what you need to release. And so as this energy build, this calling to let go of things or something is going to get stronger and stronger. And I feel that's where this forgiveness comes in. I feel like some of you will be offering the person that is doing the going to offer them forgiveness. And also some of you might be asking for forgiveness because you are letting somebody down. But Spirit is saying to me, pole number 1, you're not letting anybody down. In actual fact, it's quite the opposite. But I feel that's how it will feel. I feel there'll be a bit of guilt in you, and I feel there'll be a bit of resentment in the other person. So if you are the one doing the walking away, I feel like this forgiveness is forgiveness, asking forgiveness to the person that you're leaving. Whether they give it to you or not is not an issue. And then offering yourself forgiveness, because I feel there will be that little bit of I wish I didn't have to let them down. It's going to be hard. This is not a knee-jerk reaction that you're just going, blow it, I can't be bothered, stick your job. No. This is going to be difficult, and you're really going to try to find the right way to do this. But I feel that, you almost feel like the feeling is so strong, you don't have a choice, pole number 1. And the card says, healing comes from acceptance. Help me, dear Lord, to fully accept what is, knowing that this alone will open me to the new. And pole number 1, you are being opened to the new. And there's just a level of acceptance. Acceptance is, gosh, when we can come at anything with acceptance, I tell you, my friends, there is so much less pain. There is so much less drama. There is so much less of everything, and just more love, more forgiveness, and more healing. This is a message to remember, my friends, as you're going through your week. And my friends, this message might be just that realization. Some of you are definitely taking the steps in. This is the week that you make this thing happen, the releasement happens. But for some of you, it may drag on a little bit more as you come to accept what you've got to do. And the other overall energy is true offering. And the card says, may I release the fears, illusions, and addictions that keep me from true offering. May I relax into your plan, trusting that the next steps will always be shown. Use me, love. Use me for the highest. I am yours alone. And that last section is basically saying to the universe, I accept and I trust, and I believe that where you guide me is ultimately where I want to be. And I don't always know that or see that, and that's why relaxing into the divine plan is a beautiful way to go. And the beginning where it says, may I release the fears, illusions, and addictions that keep me from true offering. What you are releasing yourself from, or what somebody is releasing themselves from, is not a place of true offering. Okay, so when you're somewhere that you just know is not aligned with you, it's not true offering. You're doing everything out of guilt, obligation, duty. And that's not true offering. So the energy that you're giving is not healthy. It's not loving. But when we do things out of true offering, when we're somewhere or with people that we truly want to be with, everything is done. Even days where we're not feeling so well, we're a bit down, it's still done with true offering. It's still done with love. It's still done with purpose. And I think this true offering is where Spirit is guiding you, pole number 1. It's guiding you towards this new place where it's like, oh, I might not always, we're never 100% happy with our job. There are days where we hate it. There are days we'd rather be somewhere else, completely somewhere else. There are days where, our partners annoy us, our families annoy us, the people around us annoy us, But that's just normal. That's what being in community and being with people is all about. There's contrast. That reminds us, that when we get those good days, they're really good. If we had just good days, we wouldn't know a day from the other, so it would just be nothing. But the good days are great because we've got those bad days. We can see the contrast and we can appreciate. And that's what teaches us. It's the challenges that help us to learn to let go. They help us to learn to accept. So they really do teach. And then those wonderful good moments, they keep us buoyant. They keep our vibration high. They keep us moving forward. They keep us knowing that everything has a time and a season. That's saying this too shall pass. We know that the tough times will go. We know that the good times go. And it's all accepted, and it's all the makes up the beauty of life. Now with the tarot, we've got the 6 of Wands, we've got the Death card and the Page of Cups, and this energy is very flowing, and I feel this 6 of Wands is very much, this is success and triumph after he's been to the wall. And I feel that this is what you are called to do. Like somebody must end a war, and it's like you are being called to end whatever you're doing and whatever you're attached to that you realize no longer sits very well with you, doesn't resonate anymore. And having the 6 of Wands here is, it's not like the 8 of Cups, it's not like the 6 of Swords. I feel like this is Spirit saying when you move on, it's triumphant. Like it's a win-win. Because even the people that have lost the war, they've still won, because there's no more war, there's no more killing or devastation. So even though we always say, oh, they won and they lost, it's still a win-win. An ending of a war, ending of a bad situation is a win-win. And you, pole number 1, you won't see this until you've moved past it. You won't see this until you've made that call. And the Death card here, this major arcana here, I feel brings more information than just the ending of what you're releasing. What you're releasing yourself from, or what another is releasing themselves from. Because I'm really feeling, pole number 1, this can work both ways. And there's this sense that, and this Death card for me is Spirit saying, the releasement is done here. The tarot cards all move the story forward. So this is basically Spirit saying to you, the minute you make that decision and you speak your truth, you will feel triumphant. You'll feel that, oh, that sense of relief, that sense of release. And you'll feel like, oh, I'm so glad I did that. Like it will feel So good. Yes, there'll be aspects that will make you feel a bit, oh, it's a shame I had to do that to that other person. I really didn't want to let them down, because it's got nothing to do with them. You're not leaving because you don't like the people. You're not, it just doesn't resonate with you. So that's what makes it hard to let people down. You know, it's easier to let a boss down when you hate them. When you really like them, it's really difficult. It's really difficult. But this is saying that once you release, there is this feeling of triumph. There is this feeling of, oh gosh, I did the right thing. And Spirit's saying that moves you forward. You'll be moved forward. And what are you moved forward to? The Death card, which means the ending of something. So it's not just the ending of what you're moving away from. I feel it's not so much what you're moving away from that creates this new beginning. It's the fact that you saw it didn't sit with you. You saw that it wasn't for you, and you took the steps, as difficult as they were, to let them go. And then this moves you forward to a complete, like now you're looking at everything from a sense of alignment, because that's what you didn't have here. So your choices, everything you do, so it's almost like the end of the old you. It's so the end of the past you that got into this contract or this relationship or this job or whatever it is. You are no longer that person, and you can never be that person again, because the lesson was so genuinely learnt, so deeply felt. And this is the same if somebody's letting you down. Know that you're moving forward. Something will happen that will bring around this. Like, this is probably when the new person comes in. And then you'll have like somebody leave, or you'll have, you know, if this is a relationship, you'll have suddenly somebody come in, and you're like, oh, if I was in the relationship, I wouldn't have seen this person. And you, again, it's going to be the end of the old you that would have been like, no, people are committed. That's just how they stay. So either way, whichever kind of scenario you find yourself in, pole number one, the lesson will be the same. Really being in alignment, and also allowing others to be in their alignment. And then that moves you forward to the new beginning, the Page of Cups. And the Cups is all about fulfillment, moving forward in what fulfills us, genuinely fulfills us. And the Page is right at the beginning of the journey. The Page has just accepted the Ace of Cups, seeing a potential in it. And with the Cups, because it's fulfillment, there's this element of when he accepts the cup, he sees potential, but not really like the whole journey, not really what this could actually mean. He just knows that, oh, this could be something. And as he starts to plan or learn or study or look into it, a fish pops out. That's surprising. You don't expect that. So there's an element of surprise with this, an element of, oh, do you know, I felt it could have potential, and now this has just blown me away. I never expected this to kind of lead here. This is so good. You know, that's like doing a course and thinking, oh, well, you know, after this course, I'll be able to get these jobs. And then suddenly realizing, oh my gosh, it opens the door to a whole other sector. It can open the door to international travel. It can open the door to further studies. It can open the door to working with a ton of different groups of people, or, you know, so suddenly it just grows. I got this feeling earlier of saying, you know, things grow exponentially with this charging of her wand. And I think that's what this is. You realize that, oh my gosh, this is massive. And pole number one, you realize, because this has opened you up enough, and this charging of the wand, this feeling that you felt that enabled you to do the releasing, you don't forget that, because you probably sat with that energy a while. You probably realized it in the first week or the first few days, or but you let it continue because you felt too far gone, and it just grew and grew and grew. And then you release, you come into the new, and that just opens you up to a whole new world that you never expected. And that's like the charging of her wand. The wand is generally like a stick. I mean, you put that in a pile of sticks and it really doesn't look anything. And that's like situations. You look at situations and they're just like, oh yeah, but you put the right person in that situation and suddenly it's like, poof, perfect. That person's growing and expanding and joyful and challenged and excited and a little bit afraid, and that keeps them going. And I feel that's like with the wand, when a wand is charged and the magic comes out, you're like, but that's just a stick, it's a twig, but that wand in the right hands is something. Oh my gosh, pole number 1, beautiful reading, coming into alignment. And understanding how that feels, understanding what it feels like first and foremost to be out of alignment. And then you'll see what it feels like to be in alignment. And I feel like it's a connection, it's an understanding that you'll never let go of. I'm going to leave you with those messages, my friends. Love, light and blessings, pole number 1. See you next time. Bye-bye. Hello, pole number 2. Welcome, my friends. Let's have a look at what messages Spirit has for you this week. So we have the 10 of Wands, we have the 7 of Cups, and we have the Queen of Wands. We have Lunarsad. I'm sorry if I'm not pronouncing that correctly, but I do believe it is Lunarsad, with forgiveness and justice. And we have there are other conversations, and they're your overall energies. And these 2 cards actually really tie in really well together. We have courage and we have self-sufficiency. Okay, let's have a look how we're going here. Okay, pole number 2. Let's start with the first overall energy. So we have Lunarsad with forgiveness and justice. And Lunarsad is a Gaelic tradition or festival, if you like, for the time of harvest. And I like how this one says forgiveness and justice. And I feel like harvest time is when we reap the rewards of the labor we have done or not done. There's also a time for letting go of the things that worked and didn't work. So for instance, going back to the analogy of the harvest, sometimes things are planted and they don't grow, it's not a great harvest, and that's part of life. Sometimes we make choices that don't lead to a great place, and that's basically what the analogy of planting a harvest that doesn't yield well. There's a sense of justice because as well, justice is the justice, like the effort that you've put in. And it doesn't mean all the doing. It means also the paying attention of. And there's this sense of, going with what fits, going with our intuition sometimes, allowing ourselves to make mistakes and then think, okay, rather than get bogged down in that, I'm going to forgive myself, put it down as a learning curve and move forward. And I really like the card. I really like this idea of the Lunarsad in your reading, of this time of harvest. A time of harvest, you know, it's in autumn, and it's in preparation of winter. It's to make sure that you'll be comfortable and have enough during the winter months when everything goes dormant. And I love this 10 of Wands in your reading. There's a sense that, you know, this is the harvest, and now you're going into the village to reap the reward, to get paid for your harvest. Now, I get a sense here that I feel right now, pole number 2, I feel like you're doing a lot of work. I feel like you're busy. It's a busy time for you. Harvest time, you know, back in the day, villagers would put everything else on hold, and women, children, they'd all be in the fields doing whatever they could. And, you know, you'd see the elderly and the kids following behind. You know, the men would be sort of cutting down, let's say it's wheat, you know, or hay. They'd be cutting down the hay. The women would be bundling it up, and then the children and the elderly would be picking up the little bits that were left behind. So it really was like a real, you know, everybody's hands, for want of a better way of saying it, were useful. And I feel that this time for you, pole number 2, every part of you is useful. Everything that you're going through is useful. Everybody that's around you is useful. And what I mean by that is, in whatever way they come, you know, it's like, you know, the elderly are not made to feel less than because they can't do the work of the women or the men or the women. Everybody is so grateful that they can do just their little bit, because that little bit is a little bit that somebody else doesn't have to do. Same with the children. And there's this sense that every aspect of you is coming alive at this time to really give you assistance in everything. Like, it helps, like just like everybody's hands in that analogy, that harvest helped, whether it be big or little, or, you know, it didn't matter. It was teamwork that contributed to an end result, a greater end result. And that's the same with you. I feel like there's this teamwork with all aspects of yourself that are really bringing you to a place of openness, understanding. I feel like you'll be tapping into your heart to allow forgiveness to blossom. I think you'll be able to tap into your wisdom to allow justice to happen. And the justice is basically, it's not judgment, it's basically just an understanding of where you've been, what's happening now, and an openness to listen to all aspects of yourself, your wisdom, your gut feelings, your intuition, spirit, your mind, your feelings, your emotions, because everything guides you as to what's working and what isn't working. So I really feel this team effort with all aspects of yourself, so coming together as a whole. And there's a sense of serenity in that. There's a sense of, yes, I'm busy, but I'm also in that lots of activity and the busyness. There's a sense of calm, because there's almost a sense of each part of me is awake, each part of me is helping me. Each part of you plays its part, and you allow it, because each part of us always plays a part, but it's whether we give it airtime or not. And I feel very much in your reading, pole number 2, that every aspect of yourself is going to be given airtime, like playtime, where it can come out and share with you an emotion that needs to be healed, a sentiment that needs to be forgiven, you know, an aspect that needs to be applauded. And it's really beautiful. Like, it just feels, and like I said earlier, it's very serene, it's very calm. And you've also got this card, there are other conversations. You know, and I see this owl as your wisdom. I see like you speaking to these other aspects of yourself. I really feel that communication, not only with yourself but with others, is really improved, because you can, I just feel like conversations are going to be open. They're going to be, there's not going to be any hidden agendas behind them. They're just going to be honest, and they're going to be, the word that came to me was fruitful, because there's no pretending. So what's being said is being said, and it just enables things to heal, or it enables things to fall away. You know, at the time of harvest, if your harvest is not brilliant, you can't go back and do it again. You can only do something different in the present or the future. You know, you can tell yourself, right, I'm going to plan now to make sure I do this differently come next spring when I plant. And I feel like that's what this is. There'll be honest conversations with those around you about how you're feeling, where you're going, maybe what isn't working. And you're also having those conversations, so importantly, with yourself as well. And I feel with this owl, I feel, because he's quite clear in the darkness of the night, and I feel there's a lot of clarity as you tap into your wisdom, as you open up to your honesty. And I feel that, you know, this is kind of winter. I can kind of see a bit of snow here outside, a bit of snow on the window panes, like on the, and I feel that there's a sense here that the conversations will come after. And they will bring healing. They will bring change. This reading is almost like a gentle nudge, reminder that everything is always changing. You know, there's always a sense when we make choices, and, you know, when we plant our seeds and decide, oh, look, you know what, I'm going to try this. I really feel called. I'm going to give it a go. I'm going to do my best and see what comes of it. There's hope, and there's fear, and there's trepidation and excitement, a whole bunch of trust, hopefully. And then you get to after the harvest, and it's a time, winter's a time to go, right, you know what, that went really well. Can I improve on it? Or that went so well, next year I'm going to plant double the crop because it's just so good. Or I'm going to, but there's a moving forward, or there's a moving sideways, because sometimes you might think, okay, right, that crop didn't work. Okay, did I not look after it well enough? No, I did look after it well enough. Okay, then, so is it my soil? Is it the seed that I wanted to plant? Like, is it the plant that's just not suitable for this environment? And you look into it, and the more honest you can be. So, for instance, and again, the harvest, the planting is just an analogy. Like if you moved to another country and you were kind of going, okay, well, this hasn't worked very well. Let me see where the problem was. And just like the planting of the seeds, let's say you didn't look after them very well. What if you kind of thought, oh, it's going to rain in a couple of days. I won't bother watering them. and then it didn't rain in a couple of days, and you're thinking, oh no, it'll rain in another couple of days, and then, you know, some of them might have died in that period of time. Or you might have thought, oh, you know, I'm a bit tired today, I'll do the bugs, I'll spray, or I'll fertilize, or whatever it is, I'll do that next week. So when you ask yourself, did I make the best effort possible? If you can be really honest with yourself and say, you know what, I didn't. And I don't want you to say, it's being honest both ways, because I don't want you to blame yourself if it's got nothing to do with you. That's not productive either. But if you really maybe didn't try hard enough, so let's say, you know, I mentioned earlier about you moved to another country, you haven't made any friends, you haven't really connected. Did I try hard enough? Now, if you tried different groups and, you know, after a few weeks or a month, there was still no connection with anybody, you know, and you tried to connect with your neighbors, you tried to even form a community and nothing happened, at that point you might say, is this place for me? Maybe should I, you know, look further afield, because I really did try. Or you might say, well, I was so overwhelmed, I didn't really try. I didn't join those groups that I thought I would. I didn't do the things that I thought I would. That's okay. But in being honest with yourself, you can go, okay then, was that because I got here and it didn't feel right? Like I didn't feel connected like I thought I would. So then I kind of didn't feel drawn to do anything. Okay, maybe I'm not supposed to be. Maybe this is not for me. Maybe I need to look at somewhere else. Or was I just overwhelmed and full of fear and I just didn't make the effort that I knew I should have? And sitting here now, I wish I had of. Forgiveness and honesty. Because justice is honesty. You know, the justice system doesn't work if we can't get down to the honest, to the truth. And it's by getting down to the truth of the matter that we heal. And so then you can say, okay, I was overwhelmed. I'm going to allow myself that adjustment time. I'm going to show myself that compassion. But I'm not going to make a knee-jerk reaction and move again, because actually this might be a place for me. I'll see how I go, you know, this season. I'll see what efforts I can make in the coming months. I hope you can, the Spirit's telling me, yep, you're getting it. I hope you can see the picture that this is painting. And there's a level here of, you know, work has been done, because pole number 2, even if you fall, let's go back to that analogy of moving and you haven't really made the effort because you felt so overwhelmed. Don't think that you weren't doing anything. Because seeing that overwhelm, acknowledging that I was full of fear and it stopped me, seeing that is a learning curve. Seeing that brings you understanding, especially when you can see that and give yourself compassion and not judge yourself. Because there is a sense that it doesn't really matter what you've been doing. You've been doing the hard work. And I really feel that the hard work is still happening now. Like I feel like this is the present. I feel like you're on your way. Like you're in the middle of the harvest, I feel like this is a busy time for you. And if you can just keep going, just keep moving forward, it's almost like the winter of time. So there'll be a break where you can sit and reanalyze things. But I think Spirit's it's almost giving you this projection, if you like. Because sometimes, you know, these readings are exactly that. They're what I call a heads up. They give you a bit of a glimpse into how things might be, the energies that could be there. And then when things happen, you almost have like this little, oh, yep, I understand this. I understand what I need to be aware of. So this Ten of Wands is telling me the work is now. And I feel there is a sense of tiredness. There is a sense of, oh my gosh, overwhelm. And I feel that, but I don't feel that you want to give up. Not yet. I was going to say not yet, but Spirit said not all of you. Some of you are going to get to that point because it's going to show you where the journey might be coming to an end, because you've learnt what you needed to learn and now there's a new journey starting. So what you were doing wasn't really on track, but it was on track to teach you something, and now you're being moved along. Others of you are on the right path, and the doing is just part of it, isn't it? You know, we need to do in the physical world. If not, we end up, you know, we don't have anything concrete. Our reality creates physical things. And I feel that when you go through this time of harvest, I feel like as you're going through it, as you're looking at things to forgive, as you're looking at, you know, these other conversations, there are other conversations. It's allowing every aspect of yourself to pipe up and share its wisdom. I feel like suddenly illusions turn to choices. Illusion turns to reality, because I'm seeing these Seven of Cups. I'm seeing them like, because some of them are an illusion and some of them are a reality. And I'm seeing almost like the illusion, you move past the illusion into the reality. So you move past what maybe you wanted to see, past what you, you know, like things that we get hung up on and things like that, and we make them our truth even though they're not. When we move past that, then we open up to choices based in reality, choices based in, well, not only in alignment with ourselves, but also things that we can make tangible, things that will actually sit well with us, and we can turn our hand at, if you like. And I think this Seven of Cups is this reassurance from Spirit saying, okay, because there really is a sense in this reading of reaping what you've sown. Spirit's also saying to you, sometimes all of our choices have consequences. Some of them we love, some of them we don't like at all. But Spirit says it's still a win-win. Okay, we might see it as, oh my gosh, why did I do that? I don't want to be here in this place. But isn't that a win? Because now you know this is not for me. And you can start moving away from it. And so there's this sense that this journey, whether you're ending it with a great harvest or you're ending it with regret that things couldn't have been different, let go of that, my friends, because there's this sense here that either way it brings you to making choices that fulfill you. For those of you that are harvesting this great harvest and you're like, wow, this is great, you've still got choices in front of you. Do I want to change anything? Do I want to do that harvest again and try something new? Do I want to expand on that? Do I want to do more? And those of you that it didn't work out so well, you kind of know what not to do. So then you can offer yourself forgiveness and go, okay then, so what am I going to do next spring? How am I going to do this? Do I even want this to work? Yes? Okay then, let's put some thought into it. No? Okay then, well this is showing me that it's time to move on to something else. If I can't give my heart to it, there's no point. It's not for me. And that the reason why I say that is because it brings you to the Queen of Wands. And the Queen of Wands, she's holding the Ace of Wands. Now, the Wands is your passions, your purpose, your calling. It's that fire in your belly. It's that thing you get excited about every time you think about it. It's the thing that's in alignment with you. The sunflower here, the sunflowers turn their face towards the sun. They follow the sun. And the Wands is basically you follow your sun. You follow your calling. You follow your destiny. And the Queens are that energy of receiving. They know they will receive what they need in order to continue with their journey. And look, 10 of Wands, that's the end. The 10 is the completion of something. That's why this card symbolizes going to the village to get paid for your harvest. And then you've got the Ace of Wands, the beginning. So whether things have, the pathway has worked for you, whether it hasn't, whatever it is, you'll find that there's a new beginning. Spirit's just given me an analogy just to reinforce this a little bit more, just to paint a little bit, maybe a bit more clearer picture. You know, this can be your studies. Okay, imagine that you've gone in and you've done a course. So this is you doing your exams, and it's a busy time, and you know, it's a fair bit of stress and everything, and then you don't pass, or you do pass, and then that can fork out. So you pass. Now you could go for a job in that field, or you might decide, you know what, that field is not for me, and it expands you in another direction. But with both, you have new beginnings. You may not have passed, and you might say, do you know what, I'm gonna do it again, and I'm gonna work 10 times harder, because you know what, in not having passed, I feel devastated. And it's not an ego thing. It's like, oh my gosh, I didn't pass, I can't do this work. And suddenly you realize how important this work is for you. So you go back, or you go part-time, or you do a summer course or something to get you to be able to do your exams again. Or you might say, do you know what, I didn't feel, while I was studying, I didn't feel any passion, I didn't feel any connection. Okay, let me look at something else. Either way, can you see how it's a win-win? Even though you think you've lost because you didn't pass your exam, it gives you information if you are open and aware. And pole number 2, Spirit's telling me you are. With these cards, you are. And look at the cards that we finish with. We have courage. And it says, divine courage is not the absence of fear, but a nudge that says, keep going, do it, don't worry, all will be well. You have to get quiet enough to hear it. Dear Divine, may I feel your courage and your will. And do you know, keep going, do it. This doesn't mean going, well, you did the course, now you've got to do the job. No, the courage is in understanding something, getting clear on something, and moving in that direction. That's what courage is. Courage is not going with the flow when it's wrong. And you'll be embracing courage because you'll be listening to that quiet voice. And then we end with self-sufficiency. The card says, the ultimate self-sufficiency is, sorry, let me start again. I just want to say sacrifice. I don't know why. Ever since I pulled this card, I thought, oh, self-sacrifice. And do you know, Spirit just said to me, do not sacrifice yourself for a goal. Okay, so that's a message that's coming through. So that's why I was sometimes I feel like I really just see a word, and I know it's not what I'm looking at, but it's almost like my mind is so strong, or the message is so strong, that even though I know that's not the word, I say it anyway. It's quite interesting. Maybe pay attention to that as well, pole number 2. You know, if there's a word that jumps out at you, or if you find that, you know, you might look at a sign, you might be reading something and there's this word that keeps jumping out even though it's not on the page, or it could be on the page and you just keep seeing this same word. Pay attention to it. Okay, let me start again, my friends. Self-sufficiency. The ultimate self-sufficiency is relying on God. It doesn't mean hiding in a cave and saying, I don't need people. Instead, it's saying, God is my source and I'm willing to receive all the help, love and support that wants to come. And do you know, this is what a beautiful way to finish this reading, because you don't do this on your own. You know, we are always helped. I mean, we're always helped by with the universe. You know, the universe is there backing us all the way. But so are the people around us. They give us guidance. They give us insights. You know, one person might say, oh, look, you know, you didn't pass. Just give up. It's not for you. And that might make you go, what? That reaction, my friends, shows you how important it is. Or you might go, yeah, I know, I don't know why I bother. You know, it's those reactions to things that really guides us in the direction that we want to go, if we listen well enough. So yes, this week, this journey will take courage, because it takes courage to be honest to ourselves, doesn't it? I'm going to leave you with those messages, my friends. Love, light and blessings, pole number 2. See you next time. Bye-bye. Hello, pole number 3. Welcome to your weekly reading. Let's have a look at what messages Spirit has for you this week. So we have the 9 of Swords, the 9 of Pentacles, and the 8 of Wands. The overall energies, we have once upon another time and nearing sky-clad. Oh, I like this. We have being enough and abundance. Oh yes, I love this being enough with this nearing sky-clad. This, I'm going to start here because this card is very much laying yourself bare, making yourself vulnerable, coming to a place of complete acceptance of who you are, where you are, what you are. There's no masks, there's no pretenses, there's no pretending. There is just truth. And I love that with being enough. You, as you are right now, you are enough. Now I'll come back to that. Once upon another time. Actually, do you know, I'm going to read these two together. Once upon another time, you were this person. And the lessons that you went through, the successes, the triumphs, the failures, the right turns, the wrong turns, the stopping, the starting, all the experiences bring you to who you are now. And I like in this card that, I mean, apart from the colour of her hair, you know, they could pretty much be the same person, you know, and the forest has changed, but look, the moon is still the same. But there's this sense here that who you are underneath, your authentic self, your soul, is always what it is. And we peel back the layers that we have put on to protect ourselves, that we've put on to be accepted, to make ourselves more attractive, sometimes less attractive. And every time we learn new things, it's because we've peeled back those layers. Our fears, our lack of self-worth, they're all layers, and they're layers upon layers upon layers. So when we start our journey, our experiences put layers on us. Meaning, as you know, baby's born with no layers, it's born with its soul. It is what it is. That's why a baby doesn't sit there going, oh, you know, oh, my poor mum, you know, I'm going to wake her up again. Oh, gosh. You know, it's like, I'm hungry. You know, it cries. And, you know, it doesn't, it is what it is. It is who it is. And I don't know if you've noticed, but when we are who we are, people accept that, or they don't. That's why some people have children and some people do not. You're drawn to it or you're not. And that's what being authentic is about. And so when we're very young, we have no layers, but life, as we journey, our early experiences put layers on us. That's where we learn to hide our truth. We learn to lie, not only to others, but to ourselves. We learn to agree with things we don't agree with just to fit in, or just to be part of the group, or not to stand out. We learn behaviors that don't help us. Oh, you're better off being with somebody than alone. So we'll just be with anybody. You know, all these things are layers. And then we get to our first awakening, and the layers we start to peel back those layers. We still gain layers and we peel back layers. And then we might put some more layers off, and then we peel a whole bunch of layers off. But basically our whole journey through our life is to become one with who we are again, to be authentic. And I feel with this journey, it's once upon a time, yes, you were that person, but you are nearing your authenticity. You are nearing your, meaning you, okay, yes, you might not have as many friends. You might be single. You might not be in a job that people admire or that brings in lots of money. But you're being true to you. So there's a sense of, don't look at what once was. That was a journey to get you to be more aligned, to get you to see yourself more clearly and truthfully and honestly, and accept that and love that. This is all about your authenticity. This is all about you being happy to be you in no matter what environment you find yourself in. And I love, love, love these two cards together in your reading. Pole number 3, you've got the 8 of Swords. Oh, sorry, I said the 8. Oh, maybe I said the 9 of Swords. I said the 9 of Swords and the 9 of Pentacles. Sorry, you've got the 8 of Swords and the 9 of Pentacles. And it doesn't matter because I love these cards together. There's a sense here of what you don't like about yourself. What you think others don't like about you. You're accepting. what you like about yourself, what you feel is of value. It's not egoic, it's part of your whole. It's almost like this is not the broken you, and this is the I'm going to put on a happy face. This is sometimes I'm broken and sometimes I'm happy. Sometimes I'm stuck and sometimes I have clarity. Sometimes I'm mean and sometimes I'm giving. Sometimes I'm fearful and sometimes I'm brave. Sometimes I'm sad, sometimes I'm happy. All the contrasts that you can think of. And whichever, they don't all apply to all of us, though most of them do at some stage, but some things are more prominent in us. And there's a sense here that you might be pessimistic, but there'll be a little aspect in you that says this too shall pass. You might be greatly succeeding, and there might be a part of you that says stay humble, even the great fall. And Spirit is telling me to make sure that I really ask you to understand this is not about keeping yourself small or keeping yourself under control or limited. Don't get too far ahead of yourself. Don't think too highly of yourself. No, no, no. This is loving yourself completely and utterly and totally. This is believing in yourself completely, utterly and totally. And this is seeing your complete value. But all aspects of ourselves work together. They work in harmony if we allow them and if we accept that they are there. You know, when we accept that maybe we have low energy levels, we don't push ourselves. There's a compassion. We don't push ourselves more than we can. We know what we can accomplish, and we might just do little, but do every day. Do you know, see how you learn to work with yourself? You learn to work with what you have and who you are. And so you might have people that can do, 12 hours a day and then chill out the next 3. But your energy levels might not sustain that. So you might work 1 hour a day over 7 days, or 2 hours a day over 7 days. And that's you. So you don't beat yourself up about that. Neither party beats itself up about the other. They keep you constant. They keep you balanced. And it keeps you true. And I'm seeing this 8 of Wands here as it keeps you in alignment. Like I'm seeing like these arrows that once they're shot, that's it, that's their trajectory. And it will hit where it hits, and you can't change the course once the arrow's gone. That's its path. And that's not what you do. Like once you if you're on a journey, you can change it at any time. The analogy of the arrow is about your truth, who you truly are. You don't thank you, Spirit. Sorry, Spirit's saying go back to the arrow, because I think some of you. So the arrow is not your course. Well, not completely. Okay, I can see where the confusion might be, Spirit. Thank you very, very much. when you are in alignment, you're the arrow. It doesn't matter where you hit. You don't become something else in order to hit a target. So you're the arrow flying through the air. You haven't hit anything yet. You don't quite know where you're going to land. So you don't go, oh, do you know what? I think I might just make myself extra happy because these people are quite bubbly and I don't want to look like a Debbie Downer or whatever. You know, so you are the arrow. You are true. You stay constant. You don't change yourself to fit into different places or scenarios. Your life is not the arrow. When you stay true and conscious of who you are, your life changes, because in that truth you keep peeling back these layers and you keep discovering new truths. So the person you were so imagine right at this minute you're authentic. I can guarantee in 12 months' time that will have altered, because your journey will uncover more depth in you. There will be things that will have been healed. So your values and your beliefs and the subtleties, you know, because the way we change ourselves is subtle. I mean, we might even sit here and go, I don't change, I do not. And it might take us a long time to realize exactly how we alter ourselves for others, or how we alter ourselves to do what we want to do. You know, how many times do we change ourselves to fit into something? You know, we realize this relationship isn't working. How many of us stay past the expiry date? That means you're altering yourself in a certain way. And that takes sometimes a long time to see. That's why these journeys, our experience on earth, is all about pulling back those layers and discovering more and more about ourselves. And this is the journey with this nearing skyclad. This is the journey that you're on. This is about peeling back those layers, being unapologetic for who you are. It's literally laying yourself bare, for want of a better way, and just being, this is who I am. If people don't like it, then they're not aligned with me. I open the door and I let them find the people that are aligned with them. I open the door and as myself, and then those that are aligned with me will find me. Not the other way around. And that takes time. That's why we tie ourselves up. You know, we put ourselves in situations that don't fit us and don't feel right because we weren't our true self. You know, all of us go on dates and we're on our best behavior. We start new jobs and we're on our best behavior. And it's only as the year or the years progress, depending how in control we are, do the cracks start to show, and then our true nature seeps through. We try to block it and hold it in and blame others, but that's us. And the more we can understand that, the more we can move through. So pole number 3, a spirit just said to me, this can apply to anything in your life. And I don't know how or where this applies for in your life. And Spirit's almost saying it really doesn't matter. But I do find that there is change upon you. I do find there is moving forward. Now you've got the abundance card here, and the Nine of Pentacles is an abundant card as well. It's success. It's also the card of independence, you know, being able to stand on your own 2 feet. So there's a sense here of self-sufficiency. And I'm seeing with the journey that you've been through, there's this sense that resilience has been, now resilience is not toughness, you haven't toughened up. Resilience is knowing that no matter what is thrown at us, we will always be okay. That's resilience. It's not putting up tough walls. It's just knowing that, yes, I could have something that knocks me down tomorrow, but I know that there will come a day where I'll be standing again. That's resilience. And I feel that for some of you, between Once Upon Another Time and Nearing Skyclad, I feel that there has been a journey of letting go. And I see her as, because this is a much busier card. I'm going to hold it up so you can. This is a much busier card. There's a lot more trees. There's the pony. So I feel, but there's not a lot. I don't feel joy in her. I don't feel there's a sense of calm or happiness. I feel like there's an air of contemplating. What am I doing here? Or am I right to be here? Like, what do I want? Like, I feel like there's contemplation. I feel here there's this ability to move forward, and the trees have cleared, the pony's not there anymore. So I feel, pole number 3, you have gone through a period of really letting go of things. There's a lot less clutter here. So you could even have been like spring cleaning, getting rid of things, getting rid of clutter in your home. But I think it spreads further than that, because the more aligned we become with ourselves, the less we can stay in situations or relationships or places that don't resonate with us. We can't do it. So I feel there is a sense that you may be finding yourself maybe more alone. This signals independence in a good way, like you can stand on your own 2 feet. But it does show me that there's a lot from your past that has fallen away. And then you've got the additional messages with the oracle. You've got being enough. And the card says, the innermost heart says, you are enough. Nowhere to go, nothing to get, nothing to change. No need to grow more deserving. You, yes, you are love. And this is what being your absolute self means. It means accepting all aspects of yourself. That's who I am. I'm feisty. Okay? I'm a big softie. I everything makes me cry. Okay. That's me. So suddenly you're not trying to fix yourself. You're healing the part of you that says that's not okay. You're healing the part of you that is trying to push a part of you away. So as we accept ourselves more and more, we become more and more whole, because we don't fragment ourselves and go, oh, I like this. I'm gonna try to be that all the time. I hate this. I'm gonna hide that. Oh, no, not that either. No. So then you've got these two aspects here that you're, yeah, I'm going to show those. And then if these three bubble through, oh my gosh, all hell breaks loose. But then we're fragmented. And we don't believe that we're good enough. We don't love ourselves completely. There's nothing to fix. There's nothing to change. What you fix and what you change is the ability to just love all of you. So you don't change any aspect of you. You don't fix any aspect of you. You just accept all of you, and that is so healing. There is an aspect of that is so liberating, because you don't make excuses anymore. You're honest, and people know you for who you are. So you don't hide aspects of yourself. Now, Spirit's saying to me, okay, explain the feisty, or, you know, some of us get more angry than others. We can work from shorter fuses. Now, a lot of that comes from unhealed experiences. As you heal those experiences, your anger diminishes. So the quicker we are to anger, the more pain we have inside of us. Now, it can be also that the less anger we show, I mean, it doesn't have to mean it's a sign that we're healed. No, it can be a sign that we are controlling. So we have an aspect of ourselves where control is stronger in us than anger. And they're all experiences that we have had that have left emotional residue in us that needs to be healed. And coming to understand ourselves and our journey, and every time we peel back those layers and we understand what we've been through, and we bless and we let go and we try to honor ourselves the best we can, those experiences, they're our past, they happened, but we don't carry the emotional scars from them, we let them go. So they're not aspects of yourself that you can say, because Spirit's saying to me, you know, you can't walk around going, well, I'm feisty, I get angry really easy, put up with that, or, you know, go away. But, okay, but is that who you really are, or is that emotional pain that hasn't been healed? So there is a sense of, this is why we're constantly doing the work, not to change ourselves, but to understand the layers that we have. Because with our ego operating, we can go, well, I'm going to be myself. I have a terrible temper. I'm just going to let my terrible temper go wild. Well, I think very quickly you'll see the consequence, because the consequences for all our action, the consequences that will bring. Now, if that's your journey, that's your journey. But sometimes that journey will bring us to understand, okay, where is this anger coming from? Is it me? So it does take digging, my friends. It does take work. And we end your reading with abundance. And the card says, Divine Beloved, please show me how to feel fully deserving to receive. I release my ego's plan and open to being a vehicle for abundance. And I love finishing the reading with this card, because basically pole number 3, you're heading towards more and more alignment, more and more honest clarity about who you are. And I feel that as we approach that, which is generally quite it's quite a journey, we move forward generally more and more gently and more in alignment. And I feel, pole number 3, that you're getting to that point where the understanding's starting to really seep through you. This being enough and feeling worthy and embracing all aspects of yourself. And I feel, because this 8 of Wands depicts speed, I feel like you're really, because this is clear, this is so, the pathway in front of her is so clear compared to this. You know, this is busy, there's a lot of trees and bushes, and this is just clearing. So she can actually see her way forward. And the more authentic we are, and the more authentically we are aligned, the more the abundance of the universe can find us. I'm going to leave you with those messages, my friends. Love, light and blessings, pole number 3. See you next time. Bye-bye. Hello, pole number 4. Welcome, welcome, my friends. Let's have a look at what messages Spirit has for you this week. So we have Justice, we have the 9 of Swords, and we have the Hanged Man. Wow, something about really seeing clearly, really understanding things differently. We have the Dance of Water, and the milk of the mother flows as your overall energy. Let me move these so you can see. And then additional messages, we have divine timing and truth. Oh yes, I can definitely see this truth here. My goodness, pole number 4, this is quite an interesting, I just think, do you know, pole number 4, I just got, at every turn, you're going to be asking yourself, am I in the flow? Am I in my truth? I feel this week, being true to you and being aligned with your journey is going to be so very important to you. I feel there's a sense here of you're just, you won't be able to lie. You won't be able to worry about somebody's feelings, somebody's, what's the word I'm looking for? You're not going to manage others. Actually, I'm just going to see if I can lighten this up. It just looks really dark. Oh, there we go. I think that's much better. There's just this sense here, you're just not going to be able to pretend. Thank you, Spirit. That's what I'm trying to say. You're just not going to be able to pretend, not with yourself and not with those around you. And it's beautiful, except for those times where you're kind of thinking, what am I doing? What am I doing? And I just got, I'm breaking things. You know what Spirit just said to me? To make an omelette, you have to break eggs. Let's dive deeper. Look at this beautiful card. The Dance of Water. I just got water in a vase. And there's this sense that water can take the shape of whatever it's put in. But water also has the ability to shape its environment to suit itself. And I feel pole number 4, your container no longer fits you anymore, and you are shaping that container. And that's actually really beautiful. It's like your life has aspects to it where you feel the squeeze. And your need to be free, to be you. So water is flowing. Water at its natural state flows. And that is the most important thing for you, that flow. So suddenly the areas in your life that you are feeling constricted, where you're not feeling you can flow, where you're not feeling you can embrace you, what you want, aspects of yourself that you want to explore, you're going to push past your container. You're going to push past those things that are squeezing you. You're going to erode them, and you're going to be free. Is this easy? No. Because in nature, yes, water erodes things, but over, I don't know, I want to say hundreds and hundreds of years, maybe on some things not that long. A sandcastle, water will erode that and crash it, and from one tide to the next, from one wave to the next. But I'm talking things here that have been long established. I'm talking about things that were maybe at one stage that were a bit of a rock for you. At one stage, that squeeze that you felt actually felt like security or safety or structure or a solid foundation, and now it felt safe and comfortable, and now it feels constrictive, restrictive. And pole number 4, the energy that I feel is that you don't even try to fight this, because you can't. You can't. It's almost stronger than you. And that's because it leads to joy. And you might not know that on a conscious level, but your subconscious knows that. You might just know that you just need to break away or break free or just open up, or just, oh my gosh, I'm being suffocated. And you might not be able to see past that yet, but you will. The dance of water is the flow of water. And it's the expansiveness. I mean, if there are no limits on water, water will continue to expand until it's thin, 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 So there's almost like it is limited, but it's almost like it will continue to expand until it hits something that holds it. And I think that's what you're doing, because you're expanding to find, where is my new container? And when I mean container, I don't mean like a box that you're going to sit in. I mean, where are my new parameters? Where is my new life leading me? Where am I going? And then your other overall energy is the milk of the mother flows. And I see this as nurturing, feeding. And I feel that's what you're doing here, pole number 4. You're nurturing and feeding your dreams. You're nurturing and feeding yourself. You're nurturing and feeding your desires, your hopes, your dreams. And this, just like a mother, you know, her milk will flow if her baby cries. And it's done like it's not a conscious thing. Like the mother doesn't go, oh, my baby cries, I'm going to turn my milk on. No, it's nature. It's the way we were made. It's the way we are. And there's a sense here that this flow, this becoming free, is in response to who you are, where you are in your life, pole number 4. And you cannot ignore it. No more than a mother can ignore her child. And I'm talking about not letting it cry for a little bit, but I'm talking about, you know, a mother sitting in one room while her baby cries and starves in another. You know, I mean, I know in some cases that may happen, but then there is something, I don't want to use the word wrong. There is an aspect of the mother that is, how can I say this, Spirit? Thank you. Spirit's just saying, look, it's just not the norm. It's something that happens, but then there are generally medical reasons behind it. So it's not the norm. We're talking about the norm here. And again, we have flow. You really, you are going to push back on things. And I feel for some of you that's going to make you feel a little bit like, oh my gosh. But the reason why you're doing that is because that's where you need to flow. So whatever you've got pushback on, whatever you're pushing back on, somebody might come towards you and you push back. That can be your sign where you need to flow. You might find that you need to flow in relationships. So the parameter of being in a committed relationship may not suit you now. You might find you need to go freelance because to have a fixed job, it just doesn't allow you the freedom that you need. You might need to go part-time. You might need, however it is, in whichever aspect. This could just be in your life. You might just need to live by yourself for a bit, or you might find it might not even be about you being by yourself. It might mean maybe you want to go traveling with friends for a bit, or maybe you're single and you want, you know, you go into a relationship, but there's a change. There's a change. So whatever your vessel looks like now, at the end of this journey, it's not going to look the same. And that's, the tarot explains that quite deeply in your reading, pole number 4, because there's this sense of justice, the 9 of Swords and the Hanged Man. And suddenly the most important thing for you is just going to be true, is being true to yourself. You're going to see yourself and things quite clearly. And so you're not going to be able to lie to yourself. You're not going to be able to say, oh, but no, I am happy, you know, sometimes, you know, no, it's not that bad. No. You're going to be like, wow, this was wonderful, but I don't want this anymore. Does it bring trouble? Yes. This is not easy. Just because you get the clarity, it's not like, oh, okay, thank you. You know, we will get to a place where we are like that, because we will be open and honest enough and not as fearful. And then we'll be able to, you know, speak our truth and say, my needs have changed, I'm going to move on. And because the other person will be just as evolved, they'll go, oh, I wish you all the best. I don't think we're quite there yet. Definitely not as a collective. But this is where you are, pole number 4. You're starting to see the truth about you, but about where you want to go. Being a major arcana, this is how Spirit co-creates with us. So Spirit is here showing you this, pole number 4. Spirit is here bringing you into alignment with the things that are meant for you, that are in alignment with you. And Spirit can start to put you in situations where it enables you to see the truth, but only you can acknowledge that truth. Only you can say, yes, okay, I see it. I'm going to see it. And I feel like it starts with Spirit helping you. This is gaining clarity. This is the clarity of, I need space. I need to flow. And with that clarity comes fears. You know, this is the mind saying, oh my gosh, what are you doing? Suddenly you just need freedom. Well, if you're in a committed relationship, no. And it's not to say that we just throw things away. You know, I never want people to think that when you go through an awakening or when you start to become authentic, you just throw things away. You actually don't. When you become more and more aligned with who you are, and when you live your truth, things that are not meant for you will suddenly fall away. Suddenly you'll find that, you know, if this is a relationship, for instance, you'll find that you actually enjoy your times away from each other more than you do when you're together. So it's the times that you're apart that bring you the greatest joy. And you come together and you kind of think, oh, you know, I had such a great time and this was wonderful. And you might say, oh, I'm glad you had a great time. Yeah, I just sat and read and I was so peaceful. And then just little by little, there's this drifting, but it's understood. Now, I'm not saying that, you know, both partners go through that at the same time. But there's this sense that things fall away. Things, you know, we might still need to speak up and say, do you know what, I've come to realize that, you know, I love you as a person and I think you're wonderful. There's nothing wrong. There's nothing bad. I don't need to blame you for anything. But I'm realizing that I enjoy my alone time so much more. You know, so there's discussions and there's talks, but there's this sense that initially that won't be easy for you. You'll feel like you're throwing it away. You'll feel like you're giving up something of long standing or something that once meant a lot to you. We don't always stay the same, so we don't always want the same things. Sometimes in this space, things change. So you might be in a relationship where you're just like, you know what, this doesn't work for me anymore because I just want to be free. I want more alone time or me time, and you might be, you know, with a partner that goes, well, look, I'm happy to give that to you. Like, you know, what does that mean to you? Like, do you want to date other people? And you might go, no, I just need time on my own. And they'll be like, well, what about if we try that in the relationship? Like, you know, having more you time and everything. And you might find, you know, there are some people that every month for the weekend, they might spend it apart, just in a hotel room, each on their own, not cheating or being dishonest or anything, but just doing their own thing. And that might be the best thing for them. That might be what their relationship needs. And it's not a thing to enable cheating or whatever like that. It's not. It's just that works for them. So either way, the relationship either ends or it becomes deeper, it becomes more, it allows you to flow. The vessel changes. So for instance, if you speak, imagine you're in a vase and you speak to your partner, and together you realize, well, no, I don't hate you, but the way we're living right now doesn't work for me anymore. And your partner might go, well, why don't you go on holidays, or, you know, why don't you go away for the weekends, or whatever it is. And then suddenly, instead of being in a vase, you might be in an aquarium, or you might be in a pond, or, do you know, your parameters change. So sometimes it's not throwing things away. Sometimes it works for both partners and you can change it, and then the relationship deepens because there's more authenticity in the relationship. Your partner might not be able to do that. That's not what they call the relationship. So then the relationship possibly will end. But there's no blame. It's just understanding what is right for you and allowing others to do what is right for them, and then see, can they merge? Can they blend? No? Okay, then it's time to move on. Yes, without either having to really compromise a value or a belief or a way of life that is deeply meaningful for them. Then the relationship continues, but it still changes. It's still different. And I feel after this initial period of, oh my gosh, I have gone crazy, what am I doing? And the fear and because at first we don't understand. I feel we don't understand what's happening. There's a sense here of feeling this need to expand, feeling this need for more flow, and I'm just getting freedom. And we feel selfish. We think, what am I doing? What am I thinking? But eventually that leads to the Hanged Man. And this is the major arcana again. So this is how spirit helps us. It leads to a change of perspective about ourselves, about our life, about who's in our life, what we want in our life. And that change of perspective enables us to move forward. It enables us to learn and to grow and to nurture ourselves. You know, let's not forget this other overall energy, the milk of the mother flows. And this is also showing us of our, you know, we have needs, all of us, that change throughout our life. We may have a need in one stage of our life to be absolutely free, where we dictate, where we do not want to compromise with anything or anyone. We might find ourselves quite alone in those years, but that's what we require. We might find ourselves filled with love that we just want to share with another, and that's when we might have children. That's when we might get married or be in have lots of friends and groups, but it changes and it evolves and it moves and it deepens, or it gets lost, or it doesn't get lost, sorry, Spirit. It deepens, it evolves, or it flows away. We never lose things exactly. Because I was just saying to Spirit, oh yeah, we don't lose. And he said no, or they said no, you never really lose anything, because if something goes from your life, it was not meant to be there. So if you lose something, like imagine you went swimming and you lost an earring, or you lost your favourite watch. There's something in that losing your watch, losing your earring, that teaches you letting go. We don't ever own anything forever. I mean, eventually when we die, we let go of everything, don't we? We don't take anything with us. So everything is there, but nothing is ours. Gosh, pole number 4, there's great learning and wisdom in this. There's great understanding, and I think it's this truth and this change of perspective, and I even think it's this 9 of Swords. You are going to understand this. In your depth of despair and worry and, oh my God, am I going crazy? There's going to be this honesty and this perspective, this truth and this, almost this trusting, tying yourself up, waiting for you to get clarity, a change of perspective, understanding, wisdom. That takes trust. I'm gonna sit with it until I see it. So I feel even this, you'll understand, and you'll come to appreciate it, because it's knowledge that comes to you, maybe in an undesirable bottle, or in an undesirable flavor, but it's knowledge and wisdom just the same. And then you've got the oracle cards as additional information, and you've got divine timing. The divine brings things in the timing that we need. Nothing comes before we are prepared, nor leaves too early. May I always trust your perfect and holy timing, dear Lord. And that is the truth. Because sometimes some of us feel this pushback and feel this, I need to break free. And sometimes we just do it. Other times we sit and we and and we go yes, and then we go no, and then we go maybe, and then we try, and then we back off, and we might try again, and then we get talked out of it, because we allow ourselves to be talked out of it. But there's this sense that, sometimes the progress can take days, sometimes it can take years, and anything in between. It's just divine timing. Sometimes we learn more before we make the changes. Sometimes we learn more after the changes have been made. Sometimes it's a bit of both. But there's a sense here of divine timing, and there's a sense, may I always trust your perfect and holy timing, dear Lord. And trust is a huge part of our journey. And we finish your reading with truth. The card says, when everything is done as an offering, even the act of speaking, you get shown when to talk and when to be silent. Your words come from silence, not fear. You do the talking, dear Lord. Take me over and speak through me. And some of you will be speaking your truth. Well, I feel in an area or another of your life, you will all be speaking your truth. This is expressing what you now need. This is being honest about what you now need. Trusting that you are worthy enough to express what you need. You are worthy enough to kind of say, hey, I really need this. I really need that. And of trusting the timing, trusting the universe to align things. You know, you often hear about relationships and they ended with, you know, one partner devastated and going, I never saw this coming, and then, you know, years down the track that person is then married with children and they're like, oh my gosh, that breakup was the best thing that happened to me. You know, and sometimes you almost wish that their partner at the time was there to be able to see that, because there's a lot, we do carry guilt, you know, when we I mean, we've all been at the receiving end of an ending relationship, and we've all been at the person ending it, so we know the pain of both. But I feel that to let someone go, to let a job go, a dream go, a situation go, when it is, when you feel that it is no longer right, you're staying there out of duty, out of just habit, because it's the easiest thing to do, because you don't want to hurt another, or you don't want to make things difficult for others. That keeps you stuck, and that keeps you flicking the sides of your vase just in constant frustration. You know, there's this energy of, oh, I just want to get out, and that energy spills through in all your life. Everything is tainted with that energy, and it will eventually spill out. And often when we wait for that time where we're so frustrated, I can't do this anymore, that's when we tend to break the vase, and that's when things end really badly, because it's just been brewing for so long. And sometimes that's the experience we need to go through. That's going to be our learning curve. But I can guarantee the following time you won't wait so long. There's great wisdom and understanding in this reading for you, my friends. I'm going to leave you with those messages, pole number 4. Love, light and blessings, my friends. See you next time. Bye-bye.